Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. But if you're new here, I am Nicole. I moved from Canada and I'm in Serbia now, and I plan to stay here as my forever home. I will also have a home in Greece as my summer home, and eventually you'll get to see that along the way. So today I want to talk to you about how you actually move your whole life from one country to another in the matter of a month. Let me just explain myself. So we went on holidays. We fell in love. I fell in love. I mean, my husband is native to this country, but I fell in love with Serbia and I decided that I needed to be here. But I didn't give myself a very healthy time frame, but that's okay because we did it. So how do you even begin? That's one of the questions I get all the time. Like, how do you uproot your whole life and bring yourself to a new country? So let's talk about the packing process. So you have to get a spreadsheet. In this spreadsheet, you're going to see that there is numbers categorizing each box, and each box has to have that corresponding number on it, and that corresponding number also must have your first and last initials along with a monetary value for customs and for taxes. So while this is a curse, it's a blessing too, because we were filling a 40-foot container. It started with my husband saying it's going to be a 10-foot container. I'm like, no way. 20-foot, but shared. I'm like, no flippin' way am I giving up everything I own and starting over. Some things need to feel familiar, right? So we started packing. I think there's a stupid amount of Christmas boxes, maybe like 20. Toys and toys upon toys. Now, it's a great thing that we brought toys. Toys are super expensive here. Like, for example, an LOL doll that I would probably get for like 30, 40 bucks Canadian. I'm spending almost like 100 bucks on some of them, just to give you an idea. Where other things are ridiculously cheap compared to Canada. It just depends on what you're getting. Okay, so you're packing your stuff to go on a container. When do you get your container? 45, maybe 60 days. I guess it depends on the water. It depends on customs. So you now have to get rid of almost everything you have. And knowing that I don't have a house here, I'm at an Airbnb, but I went and got myself a Christmas tree. Okay, but anyway, so you're in an Airbnb, so you're not gonna bring your 40-foot container worth of stuff here. So I had to plan for what I didn't need and plan for the inconveniences, along with pack, you ready for this? 25 pieces of luggage to bring to the airport. Yep, 25 plus our cat. Okay, so let me explain how you do this. So in order to bring an animal into a country, you have to go on the ministry site of the country that you're visiting, and you have to get the papers that are required, along with the necessary shots and medications, etc. But I call him a big bone kitty because we don't fat shame here. And he was slightly overweight. Fortunately, we had an amazing woman at KLM at the airport who let him on the airplane even though he was a kilo over. Whew. Because that little boy, he's like one of my children. Anyways, so you deal with the cat. Then you also have to figure out the kids and their schooling. And I determined when I was in Canada that that was not something I was going to be able to do in Canada, and we would have to deal with it when we were here. So we just planned to have some schoolwork for them in advance and bring it with us in case we needed to keep them stimulated. That didn't happen. We ended up getting them into this awesome private school. We're only 12 days in and they're in school. They're starting their sports again. So we had a lot of goodbyes. We said goodbyes to some of our closest, and unfortunately we didn't get to say goodbye to everybody. And even like some of our longtime friends we didn't get a chance to say goodbye to because we cut ourselves so short. So we sold the house and packed our whole life, as well as throwing out so much stuff. And then packing all this luggage, and we moved into my in-laws for 2 weeks. Honestly, living at my in-laws, I'm so thankful that they let us stay with them. But man, it is hard for adults to live with other adults because, you know, they kick into that wanting to help parent your kids, and, you know, your kids do things that maybe they're not used to, or your in-laws do things that maybe you're not used to. And it's tough. It's really tough. And again, so thankful, and trying to stay out of the way for my in-laws as much as possible. It was tough, but it needed to happen. It was part of the process. And honestly, it was much better than staying in a hotel. So again, I'm ever so grateful, not complaining, just being really real with you guys on what that process looked like of leaving. So you end up not packing all your clothes if you have as much clothes, or as many clothes, as I have. A lot of it got boxed, and some of it got, you know, left with us in a suitcase. But I had to limit myself to 3 suitcases, which had to include hair products, because again, I'm not going to see my stuff in a container for a long time. And this hair, it's not forgiving to just any hair products. So I definitely had to make sure that every bag was 23 kilos. And then on top of that, everything was packed that I was going to need without a suitcase. And that also had to include some of our electronics. So packing was tough. I think the hardest part for us leaving was seeing our kids say goodbye to their friends and saying goodbye to their teams that they were on and they formed such beautiful relationships with. Thankful that my daughter won this right before we left, and then thankful that they all had the opportunity to have final days, maybe 2 days before their sports. We played our sports up until we left. Like, we honestly tried to make it so that our last day was really just about packing up everything that we had left. Also, one thing that we felt was super important to us prior to leaving is hitting up some of our favorite spots, such as Bath and Body Works. It wouldn't be right if I didn't go to Bath and Body Works first. And some of our favorite restaurants that, you know, one of them super cheesy, Red Lobster. But you know what? I knew being in Serbia, the seafood options are not wide. When we go to Greece in the summer, we got seafood. Like, we're good again. But we don't have Red Lobster.
Last name the Trudeau regime. Fuck you, Trudeau.
Or, you know, some of our favorite sushi places, or the Keg and their bread and the 3 cheese butter. There were things that we just had to go have before we left. And thankfully we were able to do that. And we spent a lot of time trying to not only see friends, we went to final games, like we went to a TFC game to say that we went to our last TFC game. We did a lot of things that were our last, knowing it was our last. so strong throughout it all, but I broke. I broke at the airport. And for those of you who know me, I don't break very easy. I'm pretty tough normally, but we had, one of our closest friends bring us to the airport with our in-laws, and
Mati.
I don't have family back home, so one of my closest friends came and her daughter, and seeing the two girls, my daughter and her best friend, saying goodbye and hugging each other and bawling, broke me. And then one of my closest best friends, she starts bawling, and that broke me. But the moment we passed through customs, this weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I just knew that any relationship that was already formed, it was solid, and that we were about to embark on some adventure that I could have never dreamed of doing without a supportive husband. He is my rock, and thank God. That I have him, because I don't think I would have been able to have the opportunity to go abroad, live abroad, if it wasn't for him. But I want to say it's not easy, and I've received, my English is already getting bad. I've only been here 12 days. I've received so many messages of people saying, this is so you. Only you would do an adventure like this. And looking back at myself in the last 10 years, I would have never said I would be the one to actually be adventurous. In fact, if you even asked me 5 years ago, I'd say I wasn't adventurous. So it's beautiful to hear that I've given that vibe, and maybe I just didn't identify it myself. So I'm happy that I obviously had that in me. And when people say, what made you do it? The video of why I did it, you can go see. But it's also because I never wanted to live my life saying, I wish I did, I should have, I could have, I would have, but it's too late. You kind of got to take life by the horns. And I'm a bull, I'm a Taurus. And I wanted to move to New Zealand prior to COVID actually starting, and then they closed their borders. Thank God they closed their borders, because the reality is, seeing what happened with COVID, that was not my place. So everything happens for a reason. Trust and believe in that, and believe in the process. And I've made already, new relationships here that I'm excited to see grow. And I will keep you posted with more information, of course. My next video that I'm excited to share, and I really contemplated if it should have been this video, was talking about racism in Serbia and if that actually exists. And I'm going to kind of leave you on that cliffhanger and take you with me on that adventure. I've got some pictures, I've got some facts. I want to show you what it looks like through my eyes, but I also I was reluctant to make the video because I would like to stop and talk to a few people just to see if they're getting the same vibe I'm getting, with their permission to share that. So please look out for my next video. I'm gonna try to post once a week, every Monday, if possible. Of course, now with the kids getting back into their sports, in fact, we even have volleyball tonight, but with the kids getting back into their sports and soccer being regular, it might be tough, but I'm dedicated. I want to share this with you, and there's so many of you that I didn't get to say goodbye to, or that I won't see for a while until you come here, because I'm not coming back to see the 401 still under construction in Canada. I'd rather go see the rest of Europe, maybe Japan, Indonesia. There's so many other places I want to go. But anyways, look out for my next video. And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Bye guys. Zdravo.